Hello everyone, today I'm going to show you how to make this part by using SolidWorks, and this is chapter 6 exercise 3. Once again it's chapter 6 exercise 3, and we're going to use the SolidWorks to make this part. So before we start it, so we probably want to take a look at this part. So if I make this, so I would make this part first. Okay, make this part first, then mirror it with the axis here. So get this part get mirrored. Then I am going to revolve with the center line. So after that, I will be able to create the bottom part here. Okay, the bottom part here. And after that, I am going to create a reference surface, which is the top surface. Then I am going to make a square part there and put a phallus there. Then I am going to extrude. Then after that, I am going to create the cylindrical part, which is the circle there. Then I extrude until the surface. At the end, I am going to use extruded cut and also hole wizard to make all these holes. And that's about my plan. And now let's get started. So I go to SolidWorks and I create a new, which is here. So create a new part and say OK. And I go to Sketch. They actually already have one. So I go to Sketch. It will ask me a plan. So I would create this part on the front plane, but it's up to you. So I am putting on the front plane. And first of all, since I need to mirror and revolve in the future, so I probably want to put the center lines first. So I'm going to go ahead and create the center lines. So one center line is from here to the right. Make sure it recognizes the origin. And the other one is the vertical. So center line from top to the bottom. And then I am going to make the left part here. So once again, I just draw the approximate contour, then dimension that shortly. So I am going to make this part. Go to a line here, I draw it straight down, and going up has a little angle, as you can see. So I made it on the center line. Then I go up a little bit and make those two lines parallel, so I don't need to dimension later. And going up and close the ship. And from the drawing, as you can see, here are some fillets. Okay, some fillets there, and it says the fillets radius, they are all 5 millimeters unless specified. So we would recommend if you could put it on the sketch, then make a sketch, make the fillets on the sketch, because when you get a model, sometimes it's hard to create fillets. So if you could, then put all the possible fillets on the sketch. So I'm going to make the fillets with the radius 5 millimeters. So I see fillets there. So I say OK first. Then I am going to fillets and select. So the radius is 5, and select those two lines. So it's recognized there. That's not right. So I'm going to delete that and select here. And this is the fillets I'm looking for, which is great. So I say OK. Then I do another one. So go to fillets again and select this tool, and radius is 5. That's right. So I say OK. Now I am going to give a dimension of those parts. So this is 22, this is 15, and the degree is, the angle is 5, so I'm going to put them there. So actually I should have put them there first before I make fillets, in case the fillets doesn't work, but in this case that is okay. So I put the distance here to there as 22, and the bottom one is 15, so from here to here it's 15, and also the length of that part. So if we go back here, so the length, so it's 284, so I need half of that, so 284 divided by 2. So from here to the center is 284 divided by 2. I'm all the way down there. Then I also need a angle one, so that it says 5. So I put from here to the center line, I say the degree is 5, so I'm kind of close. And now I am going to extend the center lines a little bit. And now you can see we have still some blues, so we need to figure out the height from here to the center line and the height to the center line here as well. So we can go back to the sketch and look at the side view, okay, the right side view. So actually from here to the center is going to be the radius of this part, which is 100, and also from here to the center it's going to be 75 divided by 2. So I'm going to go ahead and put those dimensions there. So from the top, the smart dimension from top to the bottom, so it's 100, and from there, this point, so you probably select the point instead of the line because this is not a straight line. So from the point to the bottom, the distance there is 75 divided by 2. With all these dimensions, so the part there, it's fully defined, and they're all black. So I'm in a good shape. And now I am going to extend the center lines a little bit. And after that, I am going to mirror the part. Okay, I'm going to mirror it to another side. So once again, make sure everything is fully defined until they're all black, then they mirror, so you don't have to dimension them twice. So I mirror entity, and entities to mirror, I want to mirror all of them with the fillets. So I select all of them, and mirror about. So this is going to be my symmetric line, and look right to me. Then I say OK, and then I save the work. So save the work periodically in case you lose it. I will go to document 128 and call the okay, I'll just leave it as a part 1. Then I say OK. Then after that, as you can see, this is dark, this is not dark. And the reason of that is we have a center line there, so we could try to delete that. So when we revolve, we can revolve it at once. So let's go ahead and delete the line here. So delete that, so everything is dark, as you can see. Now I am good. I am going to save the work again. Then I'm going to revolve it first. Oh, it turns out to be underdefined. So let's take a look at that. Oh, actually I have an extra point here for some reason. See it? So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. It's fully defined again. So I am going to revolve this part. So go here, revolve, and everything is selected. So you ask the axis, so I selected this one, and it's got revolved. Let's say OK. By doing that, I completed the main body part. After that, I am going to create the top part. Okay, the top part. Now I am going to create a new surface, which is here. So if I look at the distance, it's going to be 110 on top of the top plane. So I'll double check. I think it's the top plane, and it's 110. So let's go back here. So if I put my top plane here, yeah, it's exactly the top plane. So I am going to create a reference geometry, which in particular a plane here, and will ask me the reference. So I want to select the top plane. So I select the top plane and give a distance says 110, and put the height there and say OK. And I got a new plane there. And now I am going to draw the square piece. Okay, draw the square piece there. So we can look at the dimension. So the top part overall is 150 and has a host there. It's 110. So right now we don't need to worry about the host because we're going to use the whole wizard for that. So just put 150 there, and it's a square. So first of all, I want to change to a top view and put a square there. So go back to sketch and go into sketch and draw a rectangle, and I probably select this center rectangle, and this is the center. Do a rectangle here, and now I'm going to dimension that. So it's 150 of each side. So 150 here, and also 150 here. And now they're all fully defined. They're all black. Now I am going to extrude this part. Oh, before that, I have fillets. I have a fillets there. And the dimensions of the fillets is R20. Okay, R20. So I'm going to make the fillets. So I go back to the top view and do a fillet. Select, so I put a 20 there. And select the two edges. And also here. And also here and there. Select this and say it's 20, so they look good. So I say OK, and it's still fully defined, and I save the work. Then I am going to extrude. So right now it's 11 to 10. It's 110, so I probably want to extrude up instead of down, right? Because I made the reference surface here. So I'm going to extrude up at 22. I go back here. So I go to features, extrude, and recognize that there. And right now the direction looks right to me. And the height is supposed to be 22 there. Change the height to 22. Then overview, look right to me, and say OK. And now I am going to make the circle here, which is this circle, so from here to there, and extrude. So the diameter is 80, so I'm going to make that circle. I flip it back here, and I still work on that sketch. Go to sketch, and it will ask me a plan, so I still want to okay, so now I'm going to make on this plan at the top, at the bottom instead of plan 1. If you do plan 1, it probably work as well. But now I am going to select the bottom plan. and draw a circle there. So from the center, draw a circle, and the diameter is supposed to be 80. So I dimension that with the diameter 80 and say OK. Now it's all black, all fully defined, and I save the work often. And now I am going to extrude it down. Okay, extrude it down. So I go to features, I go extruded boss or base, and going down. Right now I don't want it to be blend, but I want it to be until the surface. Okay, so until the surface. So I am going to select up to next. Okay, so that looks right. Or you could select up to the surface and select the surface. So, okay, for this one you probably need to select both. Okay, so let's just do up to the next. That's easier for us. So, up to the next and say OK. And now I got this part. Now we are going to create this part. Okay, create this part there on the front plane. So I'm going to draw the contour like this and do Revolve Cut. And when you do so, be cautious. There is a 1 degree taper. Okay, 1 degree taper. So when we draw this, we're going to include that. We go back here. So the line's diameter is 48 here, and the radius is 3. So the inner diameter is 48 and the outer diameter is 55. So we are going to make that part. So first of all, we want to go to a front plane. Okay, go to front plane, then go click sketch and make a part on that. So we probably want to go to a front view first and a front plane there. So if I don't want to see the plane 1 anymore. As you can see, there's a plane 1. So I left click that and hide that. And I only want to see the front plane. So what's wrong? We'll click the front plane. Then go into the sketch here. So it's still on the front plane. And I am going to draw that part. So it's from the top. Draw the contour like that, and we're going to dimension that shortly. Seems like pretty little, so I draw little as well. So it's until there, so I just make it at the bottom, doesn't matter. And I close the part. Now I'm going to give a dimensions. So the top one, the dimension says it's 55 as the diameter. So I go smart dimension. I do radius as 55 divided by 2. That's the diameter. And the inner one, the diameter should be 48 divided by 2. So I go here, dimension that as 48 divided by 2. And the height there, it says 15. So I dimension the height here as 15. And remember what we said, they're supposed to have a taper. So it's not supposed to have vertical dimensions because they're supposed to have a taper. Okay, so 1 degree. So I'm going to go ahead and delete the vertical relation. Okay, delete the vertical relation here. Oh, so I need to go out of a smart dimension first and select the dimension and delete that. And move this line a little bit. Make it has an angle. So I am going to actually remake this line as well. So make it has an angle. So it's easier for me to dimension shortly. Oh, it has a 24 there, so I should not dimension 24 in this way. I am going to dimension 24 from here, from the point to the line instead of the whole line. So I'm going to drag it a little bit and put a smart dimension. So from the point to the line, say it's 24. This is the right one. Then I'm going to make a center line. So from the point down there, make sure it's straight, make sure the vertical relation is showing up. Okay, and I'm going to dimension there as 1 degree. Okay, from here to this point, say it's 1 degree. So this is the taper. Say OK. And I'm going to connect those 2 points. So go to straight line there to here. And as you can see, the vertical relation is missing, but I do need that. So I'm going to manually add a relation there. Say it's vertical, horizontal, I'm sorry, it's horizontal. So everything is black. Okay, it's black. Now I'm going to use the Revolve Cut. Okay, so I go back to features and I do Revolved Cut. Okay, and this is a plan, that's right. And I am going to select the axis here. So this is apparently not the right axis, so I delete that. And I select the center. Okay, the center line. And I say OK. So after that, I create a hole in the middle. Okay, I got a hole in the middle. And I save the work often. Next, we're going to make all holes. Okay, so first of all, let's make the top hole. Okay, so I go to switch to the top plane. Okay, and I make holes by using hole wizard. Okay, hole wizard here. And select the third one, the simple hole. Okay, so we don't need the counterboard or countersink. So just select the center, the simple hole. And the diameter of the hole, let's take a look at the drawing. The diameter of the hole is 18. So I selected the, so we need not ANSI inch, we need a metric. And the size is 18. And we don't have 18 there, unfortunately. So I go to show custom sizing. Okay, and the distance here, I change it to 18. Okay, I change it to 18. And now the position, I go to the positions tab. Okay, the positions ask me to select the surface. So I want to select the surface because this is where I place the hole. And let's put it here, 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 and here. And after that, they're all blues, so I would need to dimension them. And I go to smart dimensioning, and the dimension here to here as 110. And same thing here, from here to here is 110 as well. And now I need to give the side distance, so they're all 20s. If I go back, so they're all 20s. Okay, so I'm going to give a 20s for them. So from here to the edge, it's 20. And from here to the edge, it's 20 as well. And you need to dimension all of them. So this is black. So also from here. Okay, so let's do it in another way instead of put all the 20s. So I'm going to make this vertical, or make this to vertical, make this horizontal. So instead of give dimensions, I'm going to add relations. Okay, so I said those two, they should be vertical. Okay, and say OK. And that one is black. Now I'm going to make this two horizontal. So add relation. Those two, they're horizontal, and it's black, so I'm going to make this two as a vertical. So add relation, select this point, and the other point, say they are vertical, and say OK. And also I needed to make this two to be horizontal. So I add the relation one more time, select here and there, and say they're horizontal. and say OK. Now everything is black, so I say OK to the holes and double check, no minus sign there, and I'm going to change the diameter from 1 to 16 in order to avoid confusion. So I actually did change it to 16, just the name here it says 1, so I am going to go ahead and change it here. Now all those holes, oh, it's actually got cut it here, so we need to change it a little bit. Instead of through all, we need to go ahead and change here. So I left click or right click, doesn't matter, and go to edit features. In all holes, we don't want it through all. Instead of, we want it up to the surface, okay, or up to the next. Let's see what's gonna happen if we do up to the next. Say, and now it look right to me. Then just say OK. So that's the hole we are looking for. And now we are going to cut a holes on this side. Okay, on this side. So I am going to switch it to the right plane. Okay, so go to the right plane here and making holes. So for holes there, so I have a 15 degrees and the diameter there 18, and the centers here it's 160. Okay, so I'm going to make that holes. So I go back here, and first of all I need to create a center lines. So I go to sketch and I click sketch and ask me the surface. So this is the surface I'm looking for, so I select the surface, and I am going to create center lines because I am going to dimension the 15 degrees angle, if you remember that. So I put it here, and I am going to use hole wizard and go back to features. Okay, so it's not on because I need to go out of sketch first, and I go to features and go to hole wizard. Go to hole wizard here and make a simple holes again, and with the diameter size 18. So I take a look, it doesn't have 18 either, so I just changed it to 18. So it's 18 here, and up to the next, look right to me, and I go to position, and I create the, so I select the surface. So don't click 3D, just select the surface, and I place the hole here. And now we are going to dimension. Okay, we are going to dimension, and say so the dimension from here to the center, so that is 160, and half of that is 80. So I put 80 here, and also I need to give an angle, so I need to create a center line. Okay, so say OK, then give a center line there from here to there. So actually the center line there probably may not working because it's on the other sketch, so we do need to remake the center line there, and I'm going to go ahead and delete that center line because we don't need that. So from here to there, do a center line. So the center line has to be on the surface, otherwise when you dimension you may have a trouble in the future. So select those two center lines and give an angle, say 15th. So now as you can see, it's black, and now we are good for this hole. And first of all, I'm going to delete this sketch because we don't need that. So I right click and delete that and say yes. And I'm going to create a circular pattern to make more holes of that. Okay, so I go to linear pattern, circular pattern, and I want to make this hole, create more of that, and I rotate. Okay, so the direction, I select the entire part here, and ask me how many do I want. So first of all, I wanted to check the equal spacing. Okay, and I need 6 of them. Okay, so I put 6 there, and overview look good. Let's say okay, and now that's the holes, and I do the same thing on the other side. So on the other side, so I am going to do so actually I did a 15 on this side. Okay, and if you look at the drawing, so the side view, so those 2 holes, they're on the same position. Okay, so 15 is there, so I go back to the part, so I did a 15 on this way. So if I flipped over, I would need to do 15 on this way instead of this way. Okay, so I need to create a 15s on this way, in this way. Okay, so I am going to do a hole wizard one more time. I create holes. Okay, before we do that, so this is supposed to be 16. Remember we changed that? So we changed it to 16. Okay, and now we go to hole wizard and get the hole here. It's the same size, look right to me. And I go to positions tab, I select the surface and I put the hole here, and I'm going to dimension that, so they're the same dimension. So it's going to be 160 divided by 2, the distance here. So it's 80 there, and I am going to give a degrees, the angles, so I create a center lines, so from center to the center, and another one is from the center to horizontal, so make sure the horizontal relation is showing up. Okay, now it's showing up, so I'm good. And I dimension the angle here as 15 degrees. So I put a 15 there. Now it's black, so I'm good. And say OK. And once again, I change the diameter here to 16 instead of 1 to avoid confusion. Now I am going to do the linear pattern, circular pattern one more time. Then select the feature that I wanted to create it. So I selected the hole. So don't just select the circular. So select the whole, the entire body. Okay. So it says the whole, so I'm good. And the direction, so don't select just the surface, but select the body, because the surface sometimes the line sometimes doesn't work. So select all of them, 6 of them, and say OK. Now look good to me, so I could try. As you can see, all these holes, they are lined up in both directions, so I'm in a good shape. And at the end, we need to add more fillets there. Okay, so we are supposed to have fillets here and here. Okay, so this one we're supposed to add it on the sketch. Okay, so I am going to go ahead and fix this on the sketch. Okay, and also fillets here. And those kind of fillets we haven't learned so far. We'll worry about it in the future. So in this exercise, you don't need to worry about those fillets. And let's go ahead and change those 2 fillets. So this is 2 times 45. So for me, that's a chamfer. Okay, that's a chamfer. So I'm going to go ahead and do that first. So I go to the sketch. Okay, so I go to this. Probably here. Yes, this is the sketch. Then I go into the sketch. And I'm supposed to have a chamfer here. Okay, chamfer here. So I am going to go ahead and do a chamfer. So it's here, chamfer. Select so okay, but this turns it says 2. Okay, and I selected this 2. The chamfer is here. Okay, look right to me and say OK. And also I need the same thing on the other side. So I go to chamfer one more time. Then it's 2. I selected this and that. So I say OK. Now I'm going to save the work. And when I save the work, it will ask me a question, rebuild. I say yes, because I did a chamfer there, so the part needs to be revolved. So that's why they're asking you that. So just say rebuild and save the document. And as you can see, I have a chamfer here. And the next thing, I'm going to add this fillet here. Okay, so it's R3. So same thing, I need to go back to the sketch. Okay, so this is the sketch. Okay, this is a sketch there. So I click that and I click sketch. I go into the sketch and I put a fillet from here to there. Let's go back to the picture, take a look. So it's here to there. So go back to SolidWorks. So there's supposed to be a fillet there. So I am going to go to fillet and select so the radius is supposed to be 3. And it's actually here, so I'm going to select this and that line. So the fillet is a 3 and say OK. And say OK. And it will ask me to rebuild one more time because I changed the shape. So I say rebuild. Now the fillet is there. So it's here, looks good to me. And we also owe a fillet at the bottom if you look at the picture, and we'll worry about in the future chapter because it's taught in chapter 7. So right now we don't worry about that so far. So this is the part. That's all we need. Okay, and now let's give a good view. So I'll probably put an asymmetric one and zoom in, zoom to the feet. And now you can turn it in if you have completed. And once again, thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. I'll see you next time.